guys, hey, you guys, okay, over there. Hey, you guys, hey, you guys, okay, over there. Over there. Hey, you guys, okay.
Ah, the friggin' shot!
Good evening, folks, and welcome to Garbage Theater Shark Month 2018. I'm your host, Chase, with my co-hosts, Blake and John.
Finally, a good movie.
Let's get this shit show on the road. The Last Shark, if only.
Can we talk about the title before we even get started?
Go for it.
Okay, it's The Last Shark. So, is it like the last shark ever? Because they don't ever say anything about that. Or is this like a historical tale and they're just talking about the last shark that came by here?
It's just the last one, the most recent shark.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
The only thing that makes any sense. But it's not threatening at all. Just
Well, the other title is Great White.
right.
So that's a better one than The Last Shark.
Is it though? It's a little on the nose.
Yeah. Well.
One thing I really wanted to mention quickly was that there's another movie. And Chase, you were talking about how you'd heard of a movie that billed itself as an official sequel to Jaws and stuff. There's another movie by Bruno Mattei, who did RoboWar, called Cruel Jaws.
Ooh.
And that one also bills itself as a sequel to Jaws in other countries. But it's in a similar manner where RoboWar ripped off footage from other movies. Like that movie rips off footage from Jaws, The Last Shark, and and of course the stock footage. So
It rips
there's another
off
one out
this.
there. It rips this off.
Ooh.
That's amazing. I can get
Shark
behind
Month
that.
2019. Cruel
Yeah.
Jaws.
Yeah.
Like cruel Jaws, as if the first Jaws was a cruel shark. I mean, because that's what they do.
Yeah.
So I wonder why it's a cruel Jaws.
Just does
Like,
it
does
for
he
fun.
do something extra? Like,
He's more cruel than usual.
I don't know.
He calls his victims on the phone like weeks before, just like terrorizing them.
Like,
Like I'm gonna bite your legs off, and then
Like,
later does it.
I was just thinking of like him, like before he pulled down that poor Kentner boy, just like yelling to the beach to his mother or grandmother, whoever the hell she is. Look what I'm about to do to your boy. But,
He's out there like dun 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 dun.
Well, oh Lord, I guess we should just get into it. I had a very interesting relationship with this movie, as due to the fact that I was forced to watch it twice and write in a complete set of notes for it twice.
yeah, you definitely have the advantage for the quiz today.
Yeah.
Considering I only took a half a page of notes on this thing because I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Oh God. Yeah. I wrote 14 pages of notes and then thought I lost them, had to do it all over again, and then found said notes, and I wanted to die.
That's some cruel Jaws.
Yeah. But man. Much chimpathy's needed.
I also watched it twice, but kind of for fun almost.
Yuck.
Well, yet again, I'm the underachiever. I watched it once.
Well, I got my wife to watch it with me.
Well, there you go.
First time.
Yeah.
We just sat and drank and had a good time watching the movie. Then I had to watch it again and take notes and get questions and stuff.
I'm gonna wait till we get to the part, but basically, I started by showing Becca the man in the boat scene,
Yeah.
and she was hooked after that.
It's pretty good stuff.
We will get to that, definitely. No, I'll admit, it was enjoyable. It was absolutely enjoyable.
Yeah.
But I hated it. I hated it just because of what it was doing to my favorite movie of all time. Jaws
drew some parallels.
Jaws is like a son to me, so I don't appreciate this mocking of it. Okay, so anyway, let's get going. The Last Shark. We open up to what seems to be a 1980s Pepsi ad, complete with nondescript, upbeat, generic rock songs set to windsurfing. Allow me to let you get a little gander of what this song's all about.
Everyone's out here trying to get there, taking the hard road. Got to be so cool, knocking myself out. You got to watch out, you can't turn away. Using my know-how is only I can now. Stepping much faster to get what I'm after. Moving around.
Isn't that rocking?
Good shit.
That's that's shit, all right.
What was really
puts
funny
it-
was the captions that went along with the song made absolutely zero sense.
Oh, the
there
song
was some
makes zero
lyric about a
sense.
cupcake or something.
Yeah.
So this guy windsurfing, it's a pretty impressive display, but I can't help but think that it would have been more impressive if there was actual wind.
Yeah, he was struggling.
He's
Well,
just
I
kind of
don't-
twirling around on stagnant water.
I don't know enough about windsurfing to know if this guy was amazing or just like totally fucking up all over the place. Because it could have been either, as far as I
Apparently
was
all you have to
concerned.
do is bend the sail down a lot, and you're like hot shit.
Yeah, sometimes you like sit on the sail, and then sometimes you just like do weird poses for no apparent reason. That's windsurfing.
They even like, and during the scene they talk about how they're practicing for a upcoming regatta.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, not
is a race.
not like a style off.
Exactly. So that's basically like you're training for a BMX race by like doing tricks on your bike.
Well, we have to establish that this guy, Mike, is the best.
I don't really know why it's important that we establish that, but sure.
Yeah. To
Considering
make
he's
his
gonna,
upcoming death more tragic.
considering he's going to be around for about 5 more seconds.
Yeah.
The DJ.
Oh no, but he was the best.
The DJ comes on the radio of South Bay's WSGA radio station and tells the listeners that they're listening to 80s in the AM. Did this movie not come out in 81?
According to Amazon, it came out in 92.
Did it? I looked it up.
No,
and I
it
thought
didn't.
That
But
might
that's
have
what
been when
Amazon
it.
said.
That might have been when it actually got a re-release.
There you go.
Yeah, it
After
doesn't look like a 90s movie.
Lawsuit.
No.
No.
Yeah. So does this radio station just play the hits of 1980?
I guess.
Dedicated 80s radio
1
station.
year.
We don't play none of that 79 bullshit here.
So he goes on to say that there's only 2 days left to get in some practice before the South Bay Centennial Regatta on Saturday. But don't practice too hard, because old Mike Patterson's got this one in the bag. Such an 80s movie, some random announcer giving away all the pertinent info to the audience so that the filmmakers don't have to deal with any of that pesky character development.
Yep.
I also want to point out that when we see the DJ in his DJ booth, there's a poster on the wall for the radio station, and the radio station's catchphrase is, "The best music." It might as well just said, "We're a radio station."
There's so much stuff that's just generic in this. It's great.
So listening along is Billy Joe Wells, another windsurfer. And he starts talking to the radio and says that, "Where do you get your info? All Mike does is sleep around in his rack these days." Back in the radio booth, the DJ says that old Billy Joe probably thinks he has a chance. "Don't you, Billy Joe?" Back to Billy Joe. He starts talking about how everyone's got to get in a shot at him and his dad. And right on cue, the DJ says that maybe Billy Joe's dad will just buy him the trophy. Then Billy Joe flips off the radio, and the DJ responds to this by going, "Whoa, is that no way to talk? What's happening?"
Yeah, I was like,
Can they see each
Can
other?
this DJ see Billy Joe right now?
What is going on here? So Jenny joins the group of teens on the beach and points out that Mike looks like he got an early start out today. I thought Mike was just a lazy good-for-nothing, apparently.
I think what Billy Joe said was that the radio DJ was saying that he was out there 8 hours a day, and Billy Joe was saying that he was out there even more, that he's like sleeping out there.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Damn it. I wanted to make fun of
you watched this twice.
Ugh. I watched it twice. I can't say I paid attention that much. The DJ comes on and says once again that the Centennial Regatta will be starting on Saturday and that Mr. Wells has opened his home to the public for a barbecue, which has nothing to do with the fact that he's running for governor in November. Billy's still upset about the shots fired at his father over this whole thing. Is told by Jenny not to worry because WSGA listeners don't vote anyway. We're all shiftless windsurfing beach garbage. So, Mike continues to convulse around on his board, and we cut to an underwater shot that I'm assuming is shark vision, and it's not jarring at all that it's totally silent. No. All the underwater shots, dead silent. No
it's
music.
Called building suspense, you amateur.
Oh, no ominous music to build tension. No. What kind of a shark movie would do that?
One full of gimmicks, that's what.
It zeroes in on Mike's board and takes a big stupid cartoon chomp out of the back of it. Mike is then blown the fuck up as he launches 10 feet into the air. Did the shark attack him or did he hit a stray sea mine?
It's a strong shark, man.
It's anyone's guess, really.
The bite out of the surfboard reminded me of I know I'm not the only one. Every kid took their little peanut butter and jelly sandwich and just tried to take big old huge shark bites out of it.
Yeah, it's
exactly what it looked like.
Yeah, it's the kind of.
I was curious why the shark would come back for more after his first bite was just all bored.
He wasn't satisfied with just bored.
But he'd be like, "Oh, that's not a thing I can eat."
Well,
I would have gotten more if this bastard wasn't twirling around on his board up there.
So before he knows what's happening, Mike gets pulled under, never to be seen again. Later, Gloria Benton arrives home with the groceries to her shark paraphernalia decorated home. Her husband, writer Peter Benton, is clacking away on a typewriter. It's safe to assume that he's some kind of shark expert, known for shark books and whatnot. He's kind of a Matt Hooper mixed with Peter Benchley together.
It's an interesting thought.
Yeah.
I mostly had no idea what his job was. Oh, yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
Ooh.
There you go. Smart movie.
Also, everyone just has really generic American names.
Peter, Bob, John,
Jenny,
Ned,
Ron.
So she reminds him of his promise to be at the committee meeting today when Jenny comes in and tells them both that Mike's gone missing. Within seconds, we're out at sea aboard Peter's boat. And just that fast, we're back on land to the Wells building. Where Olivia is arriving, sans Peter. Ned, one of Wells's men, greets her and points out that Peter is surprisingly missing from his commitments.
This is what Shadow looked like before the apocalypse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was him, right?
Yeah. Yes, it was.
Mm-hmm. He's not the only one. We'll get to the other one soon.
Yeah.
Back at sea, Captain Vic Morrow pulls a chunk of surfboard out of the water. I'm going to call him Vic until we actually find out what his name is, because it takes the entire friggin' movie to get both halves of his name. So he pulls a surfboard chunk out of the water, and he spots Peter's boat closing in, waves him over. Back at the Wells building.
Wait a minute. Is this the part where he is analyzing the piece?
I guess.
He pulls it out of the water, and he there's this shot of him just staring at it for a really long time. I think he falls in love with it over the course of the shot.
Like, I don't know what he was trying to glean from it, though.
Yeah, he's like looking at it and sort of caresses it, and then he's taking in its scent.
This is a sweet-ass board.
And gives it this, like, coy smile at the end.
Like, yeah, why did he smell it?
I don't know.
Smells like shark to me.
Oh,
God.
you sweet,
Shark's
sweet
breath.
board.
So, back at the Wells building, Wells greets Olivia and also questions why Peter's missing, as they're depending on him to help with the regatta. Why this writer is so desperately needed to put this regatta on, I don't know.
I don't know what this man's. I don't know what his job is. They keep saying he's a writer, but he's like he's a jack of all trades apparently.
Yeah, he's out and about doing other shit quite frequently.
Yeah.
And he's a struggling
almost like
writer
the field
too.
freak writer.
Yeah, he's a struggling writer too because he was having a hard time with whatever the hell he was doing. Wells gets a call, and he moves to answer it when we get greeted by good old Scorpion himself. However, he's given up his exotic name for the much more traditional Bob.
He didn't look like
He's
a Bob
also
to
decided
me.
to keep his pants on.
Yeah,
For now.
for now, until him and Ned get back together.
Gross.
So, and he's a local reporter. Maybe. He does camera stuff. I don't know if he's
It's up for debate.
I don't know if he's affiliated with the news, if he's a freelance. I don't know. But he's doing some kind of a story on Wells's campaign. And Wells tells him that he needs to see the video that he's making in half an hour. Back at sea, Peter looks over the broken board with Captain Vic. And Vic tells Peter that once a shark gets a taste of man flesh, they tend to hang around for a little bit more. It's a little theory called territoriality that I happen to agree with. Yep, check that one off.
Okay.
Peter voices his concern about the upcoming regatta when we get a shark vision shot under the boat. Vic grabs the radio to call the Coast Guard, and it's starting to become clear that Vic Morrow is going to do a blatant Robert Shaw impression through this entire movie, and I am not okay with it.
I was totally fine with it.
Yeah.
Because he did a pretty spot-on impression.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he's like incompetent Quint. It's pretty good. It's fun to watch.
Incompetent.
Competent.
So, a toy shark bumps a toy boat, and Jenny is thrown into the water. Peter jumps into action to pull her out of the water. Her boyfriend Dave just kind of stands there and watches the whole situation play out. They haul her in just in time before we abruptly cut away.
This was weird to me because she like gets mad at him for scraping her side up on the boat or something, and he's like, "Sorry, kiddo." But it's weird for me that this father is standing there while his teenage girl, who now has completely see-through clothes, does nothing to cover her up in front of this old, like, boatsman, whatever. Old Vic Morrow.
Vic Morrow's a good guy. He averted his eyes.
He's probably thinking, well, this salty sea dog needs to come up with a filthy limerick at some point. Might as well help him out.
Here's my inspiration.
Yeah.
How long do you think she kept her virginity for there, Vic? Why don't you sing a song about it?
Compare it to the local records of virginity keeping. So,
Oh, man.
back at Wells's HQ, they show him the board, and they blame it on a boat propeller. We're just going to go right down the how to Jaws checklist. Wells decides to call his friend Ed Glover, who's out patrolling anyway, to see if he's seen anything. We cut from...
I couldn't help it. Every time they said Ed Glover, I always thought Ed Lover. Like from the old MTV days.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
So we cut from Peter with a room full of people to the exact same shot of Peter in a room of different people. That was just... This movie's allergic to establishing shots. We just go from interior to interior to interior. Peter's now showing Mike's parents on a map where they found the board piece, and he believes that the best place to look for Mike is at Eagle Rock. And Jenny gives him a call and tells him that the Coast Guard has found something. Cut back to the docks, where the Coast Guard is towing in a boat. Mike's friends are gathered on the dock hoping for news. The adults arrive, and Peter goes down to see what they found. Turns out it's Ed Glover's boat, found out at Eagle Rock, with no one on board. This, again, right out of fucking Jaws.
Yeah.
Old Ben Gardner's boat. Wells, Vic, and Peter approach the boat as one of the Coast Guard men rushes out screaming for the chief. On board, Vic uncovers a severed arm below deck. Real thorough search of this boat they did there, the Coast Guard.
It was just like under one thing.
So Ned then guesses that maybe he blew up, because Ed was always using grenades to fish with. Oh, how Ed loved playing with those damn grenades. It was bound to happen sooner or later.
Maybe he blew up.
He was known to have those little chicken fireworks on the boat at all times. Things went horribly wrong.
Will says that
even still, like, even accepting that a shark did it, how the fuck does that happen? There's an arm sitting, like, in the cabin. How did the shark get him?
He spit it out.
Don't know.
So Will says that, well, I've never been known to be a quitter, so the regatta is still on. Shark notwithstanding.
They were so amped to get this fucking windsurfing race done. As if it was the Sochi Olympics that had to fucking happen.
Blake,
this was the 4th of July weekend.
Blake, this is a summer town. They need summer dollars.
Fucking asshole.
It's a regatta town. They need regatta dollars.
Oh my god.
So Olivia calls out to Peter as she spots something in the water. It's another part of Mike's board. That sea mine blew Mike's board all over the eastern fucking seaboard. Peter tells Will, so you can't deny the danger now. Will says, well, the regatta must go on, and there won't be any risks, except the huge one that we're about to take.
I gotta say, though, like, Wells is way more interested in keeping people safe than Amity's mayor was.
Oh yeah. He took precautions.
Oh, yeah, Larry Vaughn didn't give a shit. So, Vic tells Peter that this wasn't a mako or a tiger. Only one kind of shark could have done this. Game and fish, eh? Marlin, stingray, bit through this piano wire? Don't you tell me my business again. Cut to more dead silent underwater footage as huge steel fences and regular-ass rope nets are lowered into the water. Wells states to the press that you need not worry because he's not going to allow anything to happen in his town. I will not allow any sharks to attack. No shark shall attack man again. I won't have it.
Sounds like a great politician.
He then points out on the sand tables of the Storming and Normandy Beach where the nets and cages have been deployed to protect the regatta, where he guarantees nothing will happen.
I will personally go out there and scold any shark that even thinks about coming near these nets.
So we back out and we find that this is just a recording. And Bob is showing this to Wells, the footage. And Will says that, okay, well, when this is all over, Bob, you can put together a nice documentary on Wells brand water sports securities. He's just jumping on every marketing opportunity, no matter how niche or weird.
That's the next March of the Penguins. These so successful documentaries.
He instructs Bob not to air the press briefing to the public until he gives the word. They're going to try to keep the shark under wraps because they don't want to cause a panic. This is beat for beat Jaws, just slightly modified. You yell moray eel, everybody goes, who? How? You yell shark, we've got a panic on our hands on the South Bay Centennial Windsurfing Regatta. There's going to be a lot of Jaws shit in this episode.
There's so much fucking Jaws in this. This is like That would have been a fun episode. We just redo this whole movie, but put in the Jaws lines.
So Bob is concerned about this as it puts him in a rather precarious position. Back at the docks, Wells approaches Vic for advice on how to secure the regatta. Wells suggests 10 boats, while Vic says that he needs only one thing. Not a case of apricot brandy, not to get the mayor off his back about this zoning crap, just the head of the great white. Just the head, not the tail, not even the whole damn thing. It's like someone watched Jaws once and tried to recall it scene for scene 20 years later.
You know, it's about right.
Cut to Peter giving a slideshow presentation on great whites. He can't explain why a great white is in the waters. He thinks that maybe it has some kind of madness. He
What kind
stumbles.
of madness you think it's got, John?
Probably
It's only
windsurfing
killed
madness.
men so far.
He's a man-eater.
Peter stumbles trying to give facts about the animal that he supposedly is an expert writer on, and he calls in Vic.
You can also tell that all the men in this room are fishermen by all of their knit hats. Every single person in the room is wearing a fucking knit hat.
Yep, it was the style of the time in shark movies. We get Vic's first name, Ron, Captain Ron.
Captain Ron, that's a good movie.
Yeah. He points out the weaknesses of a shark on a cartoon illustration of a shark that may as well have been a picture of Jabberjaw. It would have been better if it was a picture of Jabberjaw. Ron says that you have to aim for the weak points behind the head or under the dorsal, because you can't scare off a great white, not with all the pounding and hollering in the world. It's not going to stop. It's not going to stop.
I love this.
Cut to the beach, where the beachgoers are having a one.
He goes on though. Like, I thought Peter was doing a fine job standing up there explaining stuff about the shark. Then he gets like bored or something, and he decides to give it to Ron. He's doing a fine job, but then he turns it over to this maniac who doesn't seem to know anything about sharks. And he just gets up there and he's all like, "The shark is completely insane." And then he's like, "You got two choices. Get out of his way or hold your ground, because you don't have another choice."
Yeah, don't go in the water is not a choice.
Well, get out of his first option is not on the, he doesn't have, you can't get out of the way anymore.
Maybe don't fight the shark. I don't know.
I don't know.
So we cut to the beach, where the beachgoers are having a wonderful time. People playing guitar, jogging enthusiasts grilling up scraps of meat.
The craziest jukebox I've ever seen in my life.
Oh yeah, I'm getting on that.
This was a really cool shot. I want to mention that there's a lot of cool style in this movie. There's several nice long tracking shots.
Yeah.
And I really like this establishing shot.
Well, Jaws had that too, so don't give them too much credit.
Fair enough, but they still pulled it off.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't do the Hitchcock zoom in this one either.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So the regatta servers are all rolling out their sleeping bags at what seems to be the early afternoon. The teens all start coupling up, and hey, I'm starting to get a feeling there's not going to be any sleeping going on at all.
One of those broads had her shoes and jeans on in the sleeping bag. What kind of monster does that shit? She came crawling out of that sleeping bag with those jeans up to her shoulders and tennis shoes on.
Well, you had to be comfortable in your sleeping bag.
I would have stood up and be like, "There's some sort of werewolf here on the beach, people. Something's wrong with this. She's an alien. Something's wrong."
I want to see your bottom half, Barbara. What are you hiding?
So
You got fish parts underneath there?
Are you the shark?
only a shark would think humans sleep in shoes and sleeping bags.
Because if you're a shark, that'd be pretty cruel of you to be this way.
Can you imagine if there was like a Little Mermaid style scene where like it's all these sharks talking to each other about how humans are and they just get everything all wrong?
So victim girl number 1 yells out, "I'm going for a swim. Who's coming?" What are you doing, girl? It's pushing 1 p.m. We all just settled in to get our solid 19 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
She takes off for the surf with some of her friends in tow as the shark approaches. Everything in slow-mo. The shark repeatedly bangs into the fences as the teens splash about. The shark then opts to go for the rope net, which it easily cuts its way through. and the shark...
Up until this point, I wasn't enjoying this movie. As soon as this Play-Doh shark swam through the net...
It looks like a big dildo.
Like, right then, I was like, this...
It's just a tube.
It was Play-Doh, pulled on a string.
It was great. It was so good.
The proportions were all wrong.
So wrong.
Right then, I was like,
it looked like it was formerly a manatee, and they had to make it into a shark somehow.
I was just like, it's time to strap in because it's about to get real with this movie. And I was right.
So the movie, there's like 3 different ways that they show the shark, and it's stock footage, this garbage puppet thing, and the mechanical that we haven't gotten to yet. But the shark looks different all the time. There's no consistency whatsoever.
No.
There could have been hundreds of sharks out there.
So as the shark swims through the net, it gets its tail tangled in a buoy line, and it starts dragging it on the surface. Check that off.
Yep.
God, they even stole that device. They don't use it correctly, but... so wouldn't you know it, just as the shark gets to the tasty kids, they finish their swim and head back to the beach. And their swim, if played at normal speed, was about 4 seconds. They're in and out of the water like that.
Yeah, I mean, what was the point?
Tension? Maybe?
Possibly.
There was something a little eerie about that scene, I thought. I don't know, like the slow motion people running into the water and the slow motion stock footage of the shark and the weird music. I don't know, it was kind of eerie.
I don't know, it was something.
Yeah.
So the next day, maybe. There was never a night, so I don't know. Regardless, more beach frivolity, including Wells-branded buoys, Jack-in-the-Box Uncle Sam folk singers.
Mm-hmm.
Who's that poor motherfucker has to live in a box on the beach, like sweating to death until someone decides they want to hear a song.
Oh, sweet Caroline in.
Kind of actually like that song.
Is there any idea that Wells would say no to when it comes to his campaign?
How much you gotta pay that dude to stand in that box, though?
Seriously. His opponent must be getting outspent, like... We never see a single sign from his opponent.
From anyone. Yeah, he's running unopposed. He's just an idiot.
He's spending millions.
Better be safe than sorry. Some dark horse will come out of nowhere at the 11th hour. So the surfers ready their boards as the big regatta is finally about to take place. Cheerleaders spelling out well. Sure, why not? We have the budget for literally anything on this campaign. Wells smooches his way through the crowd, shaking hands with people wearing blazers so loud they would make Mayor Larry Vaughn blush. Jenny, Dave, and Billy Joe stop by to tell Peter and Captain Ron that they're concerned about all these West Coast jocks that have come all the way out for this rinky-dink windsurfing race. But Jenny thinks they're just Philly pranksters who changed their license plates in some elaborate game of beach trash espionage.
And I started thinking about that. The amount of effort it would take to get fake license plates, put them on a car, go to some shitty town just to make the windsurfers nervous.
Yeah, just mind games to make them think you're from the West Coast. Maybe they'll make a fatal error when they're
just
windsurfing.
to get that dope ass trophy.
Like, I don't get it.
Yeah, no. But she's also worried for Dave because of Mike's disappearance. But Dave reassures her that her father and Mr. Hammer, we got his full name now, and it's Mr. He's not even a goddamn captain. That her father and Mr. Hammer are the best, and they've taken care of everything. Because
what is her father the best at?
Why wouldn't you trust a fucking washed up writer and a make believe captain with securing the beach of sharks? So Ned takes his place on a little skiff out in the water to start the race. He's the equivalent of the UK over there guys.
Right.
The surfers all take their places as Bob directs his cameraman Jimmy on filming the race. Jenny watches Dave sit up through binoculars. Wells says, "I'd like to see a shark get through those nets." Immediately cut to the hole in the net with the shark going through it. Ned counts down, and the race begins. So someone on the beach points out that Billy Joe, a.k.a. the Pink Demon, according to the captions.
God damn it.
Was that a question?
Killing my questions, man.
The Pink Demon.
The Pink Demon.
That's not a nickname. That's a nickname for someone's dick, if anything. The surfers.
Well, you've ruined my joke.
Go ahead and do it anyway.
I was gonna say, what's big, pink, and drags on the ocean floor? Mopey's dick.
Wow. So the surfers spread out over the course as the dreaded buoy surfaces. Ron spots it and tells Peter to get everyone out of the water. The shark then uses the buoy to knock the surfers off of their boards over and over and over and over. He's more of a prankster shark at this point. Maybe he is Jabberjaw.
Maybe he changed his license plate.
Look at this West Coast jock swimming underwater, knocking us off our boards. I bet he sleeps in his sleeping bag with shoes on.
He's probably got a belly full of license plates.
Peter gets on the megaphone and starts telling him to get out of the water. Ron drives his boat out to start picking up the surfers. Bob is just loving the shots he's getting, as it seems he had the foresight to mount a camera on the back of the friggin' shark.
Yeah, I was like, what? How's he getting this footage?
The shark's fin finally surfaces and the panic really sets in now. The surfers get on Ron's boat or make it back to the beach, leaving poor Ned all alone in his boat. No surfers die. They all get away. But this leads up to arguably the best part of the movie. As Ned's boat
second
the best part of cinema total.
Ned's boat and the Ned/mannequin aboard it are launched sky high as the shark erupts through the bottom of it. And it's not even a
totally
dummy.
Rigid.
Yeah.
Ned cutout person.
It's not even. It's a department store mannequin. It does not move at all.
It goes straight up. It goes straight back down.
It was later used on the porch of the Carnage house.
Yeah. Bob loves it.
Oh my god, he is absolutely like orgasming over there. When did he become like a complete psycho?
Yeah.
At what point in the movie was he?
At this point, as soon as the shark decided to attack, he went insane.
Shit, if I'd have saw that happen, like if I was on a beach and I saw that exact thing happen, a man turn into a mannequin and launch 50 feet in the air, like my whole outlook on life would change too.
The shark erupts from the water. We get our first shot of the mechanical shark. It moves arguably less than Bruce did on Jaws. And
yeah, it's got very limited motion.
Yeah. And it takes Ned down with it. Cut to later, and Wells is addressing the angry crowd, and his opening line is, now, let's not start blaming people for this. It's not like anyone
to blame.
It's not like anyone promised nothing was going to happen.
I'm about to say, nobody was throwing out guarantees willy-nilly around here.
You want me to take a shit in the box and mark it guaranteed? I will. So Ron jumps in to save Wells, and he tells the mob that security measures were taken, but not for a shark of this incredible size. Then someone screams that it's coming back, and everyone on dry land loses their shit, as if they don't know how sharks work, as the buoy makes its way to the beach. It's going to waddle up on the land after him. The buoy lands against the dock, no longer attached to the shark. Check that off of Jaws, too.
Mm-hmm.
Later, Ron is taking Peter and Olivia out to sea. They're ringing up some shark bang sticks and scuba gear as they're getting ready to dive. Back on land, Wells' campaign manager is telling him that it's going to take something big to get you out of this mess with the voters. Wells says that I've been over backwards for security, because Benton and Hammer are the best at security. Again, why them?
I mean, who else are they going to get? Those yahoos from California?
There's no other characters in the movie that can do that.
Those trouble arm spotting Coast Guards?
You obviously can't trust them.
Yeah. So his manager insists that he has to be the one that's responsible for the killing of the shark. Billy Joe is overhearing his dad's plight. Back on Ron's boat, the three suit up for a dive and load up belts of dynamite, while Billy Joe, back on land, is loading up his dad's car with a plan to go out and kill the shark himself. Jenny brings him a shotgun that she found lying around, and they keep, in this scene and this scene alone, they keep doing this gag where they hold crap out to the camera as if this was in 3D, like it's Jason 3 or something.
Maybe it was.
But just this scene?
Maybe don't. Look, we don't know how this was released. It could have been released in 3D.
That was the first scene that they shot, intending this was going to be in 3D. And then they gave up after this one scene.
Can you imagine that whole mannequin scene in 3D?
Oh my god.
So, back at sea, Ron and Peter dive down to see what they can find. Again, cut back to land. This attention span of this freaking movie. Billy Joe arrives at the docks to take his dad's boat out, and he tells Mr. Olafson that they're headed down to Eagle Rock, and they're going to fish for bluegills or tommycocks or something. Meanwhile, Bob and Jimmy go over the hilarious Ned footage.
Yes.
But Bob is upset because you can't make out the shark. Jimmy then unwittingly says the Asylum's film's mission statement. We can just use stock footage. No one will notice.
Boom.
Yeah.
Boom,
My
roasted.
notes say, in quotes, it says, use some stock footage. No one know the difference. And Asylum Films was born that day.
So,
I mean, let's not forget that this movie itself uses an enormous amount of stock footage.
yeah.
It's a very meta statement.
Yeah. Bob tells Jimmy that he's going to have to dive to get a good shot of the shark as they watch a good shot of the shark.
Yeah, I was like, what's wrong with that?
What's
you
wrong with the
basically have footage of that shark killing Ned.
Yeah, what's wrong with the close-up of the shark's face? What's wrong with the footage that you got from...
they did to make the shark's lips go up over its teeth?
Yeah, they tried.
A single fishing wire just pulling up on some rubber.
It's good enough. We gotta get this thing out. Back underwater, Ron and Peter swim into a cave that no shark could or would ever go into.
I was baffled by this.
They barely fit in this cave.
Yeah, I was like, are great whites cave dwellers by nature? Didn't they hear about that soccer team? What are they thinking?
Topical.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Billy Joe and crew sail out to find the shark with a big pile of meat. Back with Ron and Peter, the shark shows up and traps them in the cave because they're idiots. Peter loses his bang stick in the shark's mouth, and Ron misses his shot, causing the shark to ram the opening of the cave and causes it to collapse, trapping them inside. They have been thoroughly outwitted by this shark.
What's up with this director and exploding arrows?
Loves that shit.
It's fun. It's a fun time.
It's fun.
It's in every one of his movies that I've seen so far.
All 2 of them.
Every one of them.
At this part, like, a shark's nose is really sensitive. I mean, everybody knows you're supposed to, like,
bash the shit into that rock.
Yeah, he's not going to just swim in face first into some rocks.
Well, remember, he's not so much a shark as he is a big floating dildo. So I think he can take it.
It's true.
They search for another way out and find another small opening. Ron decides to blow it open with the dynamite belt to free them, which seems like a terrible idea in this underwater enclosed space.
Yeah.
The explosion opens the cave, but also knocks Ron out and damages his oxygen supply. Olivia gets on the underwater radio and tells them that they're down to 3 minutes air. Billy Joe and friends tie the meat to a flagpole and drop it down into the water to tempt the shark.
Where are the kids like this getting a piece of meat that big? It's
I don't
half
know.
a cow.
From the Savannah area butcher who is just making cash hand over fucking fist this week.
This is where
everybody's buying giant piles of meat.
This is where I noticed that they were looking at stock footage and finding ways to make that fit into the movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because the pole hanging off the side of the boat, I was like, why are they doing that? But then when the shark eventually gets there, the stock footage is of a shark eating meat off of a pole off the side of the boat.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, that's the only reason they did that.
Yeah, make it fit. So Peter swims Ron out of the cave and back up to the surface. Peter revives Ron with a good old-fashioned one-handed shove to the heart.
He didn't even hit him in the heart. He pushed his shoulder twice.
And Ron just kind of goes,
When is that CPR? Just push somebody's shoulder and they're good?
Just punch him in the face.
It probably would have been better.
So Ron comes out of it, and the first thing he asks is, did we get him? Ron, I'm pretty sure you were conscious when we were embarrassingly outwitted by the shark and trapped in a cave, right? So they spot Wells's boat and think that, oh, Wells, he's just out on his boat buying other boats, probably. So they head back to shore, where they run into Wells. Peter asks, how'd you get back to shore so quickly? And then they put 2 and 2 together and realize that the kids are out on Wells's boat. So they race to Wells's private helicopter to go and find him. Back on Wells's boat, Jenny spots the shark and points it out. They open fire at the shark from distance into water with a shotgun to surprisingly no effect. The shark rams the boat, and as Billy Joe hits the throttle, the propeller slices into the Play-Doh of the shark's back, jamming the throttle.
The prop gets so jammed up in the shark's guts that the boat can't even move.
Yeah.
But then the shark is like okay somehow.
Totally fine. So they dip the bait up and down in the water to coax the shark up. It attacks the bait in glorious stock footage. In all the commotion, Jenny is once again knocked into the water in slow motion. But this time, before they can pull her out, the shark bites her leg off, and they pull her up just as Wells's rescue chopper arrives. Cut to the hospital, and we go along for the ride as the doctors and nurses wheel Jenny through the hospital via POV cam.
Mm-hmm.
Wells is blaming himself for what happened to Jenny. He approaches Billy Joe, who says that he only wanted to help, and Wells gives him a slapping of a lifetime.
The most devastating slap in film history.
Well, according to the audio, yes. The reaction of Billy Joe, maybe not so much.
Right.
It's that slap where the face just barely moves, but it sounds like Rocky slamming into that side of beef.
Yeah.
So then he just walks away from his son in disgust. He goes to his car accompanied by funky music.
It was oddly placed.
And then we cut back and
Determination
forth.
music.
Yeah, we cut back and forth from the funky music to Olivia and Peter in tears being consoling each other. Like, oh God, it's just not fair. It's okay, honey. You just got to be strong for her. So, and at this point, I want to point out that since we arrived at the hospital, you can hear a receptionist calling out doctors by name to the ER, which you hear in a hospital. But at this point in the scene, you hear the receptionist call out any surgeon to the ER.
Yeah.
Does anyone work at this hospital?
Where is everyone?
It's a madhouse around here.
They all got ate by the shark.
So, at this point, Dr. Haircut then comes up and tells Peter and Olivia that Jenny's awake and she'll continue to feel her leg for a year. That's an odd thing to add at this juncture, but
This guy is officially like the most awkward like male nurse or whatever I've ever seen in my life.
She'll keep feeling her phantom leg for a
serial
year.
Killer.
Yeah. Chuck that in your cap and think
what do you
about
think
it.
about that?
Olivia refuses to go see her daughter, who just cheated death because she's a hysterical mess. Wells loads up his helicopter with gear, and he and his pilot take off to go search for the shark. Back at the hospital again, Peter's in the room with Jenny as she lays there unconscious, even though the doctor said she was awake, but she's not. Peter's recalling a story to her about when she skinned her knee when they were little trying to learn a bike. Is this the time to be talking up how sweet it was to have legs?
But before he went in the room, he told his wife that they weren't going to tell her she's missing a leg.
Well, he apparently sticks to that because then he promises her that she's going to walk out of that hospital. I can guarantee you she is not.
It's a pretty shitty thing to do. Like, no, we're just not going to tell her she lost her leg yet.
Oh.
Yeah, they're bad parents. Our mom won't even go in to see her.
Terrible.
Like, just because it's what?
No, it's
Sorry,
yucky.
honey. Mom said it was gross.
No, yeah.
She can't be here.
No, thank you.
Now none of the sailors are going to want to look at you in your wet shirt.
No swimming with that bow-legged woman. So, Will spots the shark from his helicopter and tells the pilot to take him in low. He opens up a cooler, pulls out another big chunk of indescript meat. He attaches the meat to the winch and lowers it down to the shark. The shark comes up, bites onto the meat, and the Wells instructs the pilot to go up. So the plan is to airlift it up and fly it away?
You can't fly sharks away in a toy helicopter.
This guy is replete with terrible ideas.
It's baffling. Like, it didn't even look like... I mean, was the meat on a hook? Was he just hoping that the shark would stay clenched the whole time?
Yes?
How did this man even get considered to be governor?
Well, they've had no governor since. He's the first one to run for the job. So...
Because the last guy was so straight-laced, and when this guy came around, they're like, that's the type of son of a bitch we need in office.
No, you know what this is? This is the actual sequel to Jaws, where Larry Vaughn has resigned in shame, and so he's gunning for the new position. And the last shark is the last shark. You know, that one that we don't talk about anymore. So the shark takes the line down underwater, as Wells nearly gets his fingers torn out at the knuckles holding onto the line. Check off that box.
Or he just got some grease on his hand.
One of the two.
Like he just grabbed onto a rope or cable that wasn't even moving, released his hand, and he had a grease streak across his hand, and it was like, oh, man's injured.
The helicopter's pulled down closer to the water. When the winch gives away, Wells falls into the water and panically tries to grab onto the helicopter's struts, but he can't hold on. The shark approaches, and right as Wells gets a purchase on the struts and is lifted out of the water, it leaps up and bites his legs off in spectacular fashion. He lets out a little
Just
yelp.
kind of they snap off.
He drops into the water where he gets devoured. The shark then attacks the low-flying helicopter and drags the poor toy thing into the water where it promptly changes color.
a literal toy. It's adorable.
I was about to say, I'm sure when I was watching, I was like, John is going to think this is adorable.
Well, because also it kind of gives us more of an idea of the scale of the little Play-Doh shark. Once it goes underwater, you see them together. So that thing must be real small. You know, like maybe 12 inches. Yeah. So cute.
Meanwhile, Bob and Jimmy plan to get the shark on camera for the second time.
First time since the last time.
Jimmy pulls out a rack of spare ribs. However, they're horse ribs, but nevertheless. Bob says that he can taste that Emmy now, and it tastes like horse. Back on Ron's boat, they spot some debris floating in the distance, and on closer inspection, they find it to be the remains of Wells's helicopter. Meanwhile, back at the dock, Jimmy's tying the meat to a pylon and to lure the shark up for its next close-up. Back on the boat again, Peter and Ron bicker about who gets to kill the shark. Ron pulls rank and says that he's the only one with the experience needed, even though he's not even a captain.
Well, Peter's got those city hands and all.
Peter reluctantly agrees and helps Ron suit up. Ron dives down.
I love that shot of Peter trying to help Ron put his air tank on.
Oh, yeah, he's pissed.
He's like a parent trying to put on a 3-year-old's jacket.
He's just limp and just...
He's like, come on, give me that hand. Come on, put it in here.
Give me your goddamn hand. We're going to be late. So Ron dives down, and Peter readies his bolt-action rifle, setting up for a real Jaws ending here. Ron dives down, finds the wrecked helicopter, and wouldn't you know it, the shark traps him in it. Fool me once, shark. Peter sees Ron is in trouble and dives in after him. He swims...
flips after him.
He swims effortlessly down to the helicopter. No shark, nothing. Ron's tangled up in the winch cable when the shark comes back, entangling himself in the cable and dragging Ron away into the deep blue. Peter returns to the boat and sets sail. Back on land, with 11 minutes to go in the movie, we're introduced to a new character. The new pro shark hunter Riley in his cool as shit jean jacket.
They hired an Old West shark assassin.
So, Bob hired him to be the star of his little shark-killing film. A crowd gathers on the dock, and one of the bystanders mentions that just looking at the ocean makes her sick, and the sight of blood will put her right out like a light. What are you doing here?
Yeah.
Go home.
So
there's ocean
everywhere. What did you hear in the first place, Carol?
Yeah. So Riley shows Bob his special gun with even more special shark blower upper bullets in it.
Oh, and everything he said about that gun was total bullshit.
It would have to be. I mean, he was making crazy claims about that thing.
He was basically pulling out 410 shells and talking he could put a hole in a tank. Like, well, barely put a hole in a rabbit with that.
Did you see his jacket? I think he knows what he's talking about.
Well, this is true.
Yeah, the jacket, though.
Meanwhile, Peter steams the boat back to the shore. The shark following close behind. The shark goes through a hole in the net that no one investigated. It attacks the bait on the dock and pulls the whole thing into the water.
Which is weird, because that part of the dock seemed like it was very new construction. Almost like it wasn't part of the original dock.
As if it was built to break away.
Yeah.
That's so strange.
It also just so happens to have all of our main characters on it.
But you know what it doesn't have on it now? A bullshit rifle.
Yeah. Because old Jimmy knocks Riley down and he loses his special shark gun.
You can't say they stole this from Jaws, though.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, no dock ever broke away and floated out with a person on it in Jaws.
No. Never.
Fair enough.
So, Bob hightails it out of there, but not before telling some random cameraman that if he can get a shot of that shark, he'll take him to Lobster Fest or something. So, Bob contacts Jimmy on the radio in the van and lies to him about contacting the Coast Guard to help him out. The shark attacks the floating dock and bites some chunks off of it. It then explodes through the center of it, as it's wont to do, and launches Jimmy into the water. They try to pull him up, but the shark comes up and bites his ass off, it seems. Which sends Olivia and...
Should have been Bob.
Yeah. Should have come flopping out first and then get bitten up. So, Peter arrives and sees the shark knock everyone into the water. It beelines for Riley and rips him to pieces. Olivia and the teens get back onto the remaining debris, and Peter pulls up on the boat. And somehow, they all get on the boat, and Peter gets trapped on the debris like an idiot.
You had one job, Peter.
He uses a scrap of wood to fend off the shark's attacks and spots Ron's body floating close by. He pulls him up.
What are the fucking odds of this? That Ron's body winds up right back on the raft that he's on.
Needed to happen.
They were out there, and then he came back in. Forget
well, it was tangled to
up
him.
In the cable.
Yeah, it was tangled to him.
Oh, he's still stuck to the shark?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, John.
If a shark can swim around and keep an air canister in its mouth, I'm sure it can swim around dragging a dude tangled in winch cable all over its face.
The real question is how come the head on the tail of the shark didn't see it?
So he pulls Ron's body up onto the debris just as the shark leaps up and bites down on Ron and drags his body down. But not before Peter manages to get the detonator for the dynamite belt off of Ron before the shark eats him. Peter puts two and two together and leaps off of the debris for some reason, as he detonates the dynamite belt, and his line that he chooses to say is "damn you."
I was hoping for something like "say cheese, you big jerk."
Be happy, you pile of shit.
Grin, you bastard.
And blows the dynamite. The rubber shark blows in half, sending ripples through its whole body.
This is the best part of the movie. the stupid little, like, Macy's Day Parade balloon of a shark. Its head just pops off.
You can almost...
It just pops right off.
You can almost hear the cartoon noises go. I
was dying.
And it play, and according to the subtitles, sad music plays.
Oh.
So Peter, embarrassed by that sorry display, swims back to the debris he just jumped off of. Back on land, Bob is making a report to the camera that the shark that's been terrorizing the town has been destroyed. Bob runs up on Peter and Olivia as they get off the boat and tries to get him to make a statement. Peter opts to punch Bob in the mouth. Now, I know we've been setting up Bob to be a complete scumbag through the whole movie. But does Peter know any of this?
No.
Have they spoken to each other, much less had a scene together?
Nope.
No.
So
no reason for this.
So he just, to Peter, he just punched a legit reporter wondering what was going on.
Yeah.
Because remember, they were trying to keep the shark a secret.
Yeah.
So Peter, Olivia, Dave, and Billy Joe, and another team that doesn't deserve a name, all get into the car and drive away as the shortest credit sequence I've ever seen rolls at a staggering 53 seconds. And it's over.
Interesting note about the credits. The two guys that operated the shark is just two dudes that are both named Giorgio. I thought that was interesting.
Oh, the Giorgio brothers?
Yeah.
No. The first names are Giorgio.
Yeah. I'm sorry. They're not brothers. They're just two dudes named Giorgio.
Two Giorgios.
Giorgio, and Luigi Giorgio.
What do you think the shark's name was on the production?
Oh, Lord.
What's the Italian version of Bruce?
You put me on the spot.
Vincenzo.
Bruschetta? I don't know. Mozzarella?
I just want to hear the director be like, Vincenzo's not working again. Where's those Giorgios?
So there you have it. The Last Shark.
It's good. It's good times. It's good times. I'm starting to think old Enzo is some gold worth mining.
Yeah,
I would say so.
I'm just glad I got to wedge in a bunch of Jaws nonsense into this one.
Yeah, I mean, there's a good reason why I got sued.
Without a doubt.
The second time I watched it, it was at I think I was wrapping it up at 2 a.m.
Oh God!
When I was writing this, and when I wrote the line "Cheer up, you pile of shit," I was laughing way harder than I should have been. But anyway, we got to do the questions. So,
yep.
John, let them rip. The score stands right now. It's 4-3. Me favoring me.
Okay, so I guess if these seem hard, I apologize, but a lot of my easy ones got eaten up in the episode. So, question 1: what is the name of the disc jockey in the beginning of the movie?
Yes,
I know that one.
How far out was Mike when he disappeared, according to Jenny?
I know that one too.
Gotta guess that one.
How long does Peter say that he's lived there?
Ooh, that one I don't know.
Which Peanuts character shows up several times in the movie?
I know that one. I got that one too.
And finally, what TV station does Bob work for? All right, you all set?
I'm set. I'm happy with my results.
I'm pretty happy with this.
Pretty good.
All right, what is the name of the disc jockey?
Bill
Hoyt.
All right. How far out was Mike when he disappeared?
I had to guess with 200 yards.
200 yards.
Damn.
Fucking
Good
right.
guess. 200 yards. How long does Peter say that he's lived there?
10 years.
I had to guess 5 years.
30 years.
Jesus Christ.
what Peanuts character shows up?
Snoopy.
Yeah. That was weird, right? Like,
Yeah.
he gets name dropped, and then that kid has a shirt on, and anyway.
This guy really likes Snoopy.
Yeah, it's like the Garfield phone. What station does Bob work for?
WTOC.
WTOC.
11.
Both correct. All right.
An interesting side note, when the Channel 11 news car shows up, the license plate says News 5.
So do you guys think that this was supposed to be set in Georgia?
It's Savannah, yeah.
It was Georgia.
Okay. I was trying to figure out, the credits didn't give you anything in terms of where it was filmed. And
Yeah. There was one or two shots that they had something that said Savannah in it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So we're...
Well, that's, 4 each?
Yeah, we're still
8 to 7.
8 to 7. We still got a game.
Yeah, we do.
Nice.
Very nice.
Well, I hate to say it, but it's time to figure out what the next one's going to be, and I got a bad feeling about it.
I'm so excited.
I got a real bad feeling about this.
I want to know the connection. Since all of them have connections to Garbage Theater, I want to know what it is.
Can I make a wild guess?
Do it.
Are we watching Sand Sharks?
No.
Damn.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. We're going to be watching Empire of the Sharks.
Oh, no.
Jesus Christ.
It's
I'm
just
not
going to
happy
be...
anymore.
It's just going to be Planet of the Sharks. It's going to be the same movie. I guarantee
I think it's a sequel, I believe, to Planet of the Sharks.
Oh.
I'm no longer happy.
The reason I picked it, though, is because...
Because you're an asshole.
We discovered that the synopsis was oddly similar to a movie that I pitched back in the first Shark Month.
Oh, this is the ripoff movie.
This is the movie that Asylum stole from me. So we're gonna see what they did, and I'm gonna be all smug about it when it's bad because they did it wrong. They did my movie wrong.
So basically, this is just to make you feel better.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Well, I'm curious too. I mean, I want to see. Like I said, if they did rip off my idea for a shark movie, I want to see what they did with it. It's 89 minutes. 3 stars on Amazon, 2.9 out of 10 on IMDb, 27% Rotten Tomatoes score, audience score. It is directed, written, and shot by Asylum veteran and auteur Mark Atkins, director of Planet of the Sharks and the upcoming Six-Headed Shark Attack.
Oh my god.
Jesus Christ.
The star... Well, let's see. Let me do the tagline is mankind just dropped down on the food chain.
That's a
Synopsis.
long tagline.
In the future, most of Earth is covered by water and controlled by a warlord and his army of hyper-intelligent sharks. The humans are forced to pay a tribute to the warlord, and the unlucky ones are caged up and kept as food for the sharks. The warlord is played by John Savage, who's gotten a pretty illustrious acting career, and I don't know what the fuck he's doing in this. He was in Deer Hunter, Do the Right Thing, Godfather 3, The Thin Red Line, tons of other stuff. I don't know what's going on. They got a real actor in this movie. He's the only one. All the rest of them are like, never been in anything. Known for Empire of the Sharks. Reviews. Bad. I like bad CGI movies, but this one was slow and not ever entertaining. If I wasn't OCD, I would not have finished it. 2 stars. Abysmal. Dreadful. Must be the most ridiculous movie of all time. 1 star. And this one. Sharks. Me and my girlfriend love it. I love shark movies, especially from the Asylum production. They do it better. I definitely will consider buying this. I love the whole story about it.
What?
Better. I think this might be the same guy that wrote that one you read for what was the first one we watched? Oh, a five-headed shark. I love the whole story about a girl who gets kidnapped and have special powers. A boy hires somebody to release his people from the warden and Ian Fane, the savages who control the sharks to eat people. But at the end, you have to see it. 5 stars.
Did you just have a stroke?
So one guy loved it.
There's always an idiot in a bunch.
Well, his girlfriend, too. His girlfriend loved it.
Well, look who she's with. That idiot.
Empire of the Sharks.
Got a bunch of idiot babies running around their house, too.
I'm not looking forward to this at all.
Just think, right now, there's a couple awaiting Six-Headed Shark Attack. Saying, all these movies are so much better than Jaws.
They're like, honey, Mark Atkins' new film, Six-Headed Shark Attack, is coming out.
The trailer came out. You want to watch it together? Then we can make out and smash our private parts together.
That's exactly how he puts it.
All right, that's it. It'll be the worst one of the bunch. I guarantee it.
I was so happy because of this movie, and now, like, I already know, like, this one's gonna be for shit.
The next one will be fun.
What a roller coaster ride this Shark Month's going to be.
Oh, well.
Start down, then you're up. Then you're down, then you're up.
It can't be all highs. Can't be all highs, man.
We've had one high in a year.
You can't get used to it.
Jesus Christ.
You'll resent its absence.
I had one day without getting kicked in the nuts. Well, I can't have too many of those, kid.
Good Lord. All right. Well, I want to thank everybody that's been listening. If you could, leave us a review on iTunes. We'd very much appreciate it. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Garbage Theater. You can also find us on Twitter at Garbage_Theater and on Instagram at Garbage_Theater. If you'd like to pitch us a movie for us to watch, we're open to suggestions. Just reach out to us on any of our social channels, or you can email us directly at garbagetheaterpodcast@gmail.com. Any last words on The Last Shark?
Maybe check out the Riff Tracks version.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to do that later.
I intentionally didn't watch the Riff Tracks one
Oh,
first,
yeah, absolutely.
because, I haven't seen it. So if we made any of the same jokes, that's completely coincidental and just because we're as good as those guys.
If not better.
Come at me, Bill Corbett.
Oh, okay, so next week we will be watching Empire of the Sharks in part 3 of Shark Month 2018. We'll see you then, folks.
You can